Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, ReaperSteve, and I'm joined by the ever wonderful and great Jammer. We actually have cameras, Jammer. Like, how
Yeah,
amazing is this? What I've done is I've just stepped up the production quality by like tenfold, just for World Championships. And I know John's going to be sitting there going, "This guy." Like the entirety of the SEA, we asked if they could have cams, and he's like, "I don't know if I could do it. Maybe, maybe not." And now, right when we give them World Championships, they can get cams. Whatever, it is what it is, right? I hope everyone's warmed up, ready for this. I say warmed up purely because it's been less than 12 hours since the massive CS update of 2 GB that was landed. So how warmed up can you get with less than 12 hours of practice? But I don't know. It's a controversial subject if you have a look at Twitter at the minute, and I'm sure everyone is having a look at it and seeing all the pro players going, "We have a major tournament today," and you've done a massive update. What a perfect time. What are your thoughts on it, at least, anyway?
Honestly, I like everything that's been added and changed. Maybe not perfect, or whatever, but I just like to see Valve mixing things up. I like to see how they can, revitalize things in the game because it was feeling a bit stale personally.
Yeah,
And I honestly like the change that they put into place. Just a matter of, seeing whether these are the long-term changes that we
we end
want
up
as an
getting.
end result, or whether it's kind of like putting a plaster over a leaky submarine. We'll see how it ends up, but I like where we're going. It's a good step in the right
Yeah,
direction.
yeah, exactly. It's nice to see some changes coming into a game which hasn't had a major update like this for quite some time. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. And
Yeah,
people are going to be really unhappy in some ways because of the timing of such a big update to go through. Um,
yeah,
but at the same time, there's not really much that can be done about it. It is what it is.
yeah.
I'm just really hopeful that players reciprocate the update that's been pushed out, and we end up getting some really high quality plays out of it. I think that's probably the best way of
Mhm.
putting it at the moment, or the only real way of
Yeah.
putting it. Um, as it stands, though, I mean, we should probably talk about what we're actually here to talk about, which is tonight's games. Well, it's a best of three, of course, for the World Championship 2021 qualifiers. This is
Mhm.
the West Europe qualifiers. So tonight we're going to be watching Team Wales versus Team Australia. I love doing that.
Austria.
Austria. I know I'm
Austria.
messing. We're going to be watching them compete against each other over three maps. We have the picks for you. Jammer, if you don't mind, I'll run us through the picks, if that's okay with
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Um, and hopefully we'll get a server back in a second because for whatever reason the server just got shut down. So
Yeah.
lovely.
You all just got kicked out.
Yeah, everyone just got kicked. Did you get kicked as well? It wasn't just me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Perfect. That's
everyone
fine.
just left.
We'll do the veto. Let's just do the veto and
Okay.
get that over with. I should probably change the little flags at the bottom as well of the screen.
Hmm.
Another thing that last minute updates and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, the vetoes. Moving on. Dust 2 is banned by Austria. First out of the gate ban. I mean, it's a fairly stable ban by no stretch of the imagination. I think we can all really understand why that ban is thrown into place. So makes perfect sense to me. I get it. Understandable. Next ban is going to be Ancient by Team Wales. Again, another understandable one. I still feel that players are not not comfortable with it still.
Yeah.
Not comfortable with it, not kind of feeling like the reinforcement of having the playability that maps like Vertigo had when that first came into play. So I think
Uh-huh.
we're kind of seeing that flicker back and forward with players. Next ban is going to be Nuke by Austria. We've actually watched a few of these players play Nuke over the last season of the SEA and play it extremely well. So I don't know if that's something that's been kind of dug into by the Austrian team. And the final ban is Vertigo by Team Wales. First pick of the evening, you've just seen it a second, well, should see it in a few seconds, is Mirage. That's been picked by Austria. Wales then picked Overpass, and then the decided map, of course, is Inferno. And it's a pretty good decided map to jump into, in fairness.
Yeah, some might say the best finishing map in a best of three series, but we'll leave that to a Boston major debate. But yeah, going back to these GOs, I think the strategy from both of these teams has just been you know, we're both mixes. We've just put the best players that we can together that were available for this, and we're just going to play to what we're comfortable with. At least, you know, what the IGL might be more comfortable calling, along with, you know, what his players are more comfortable, you know, feeling out through that map, because it is just going to be that kind of mixed pug style gameplay from these two teams, or at least that's what we're expecting, because I don't think that they've had much, if any, time to prepare together.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the team got announced last Thursday. I think we had it as, because we were in the middle of covering a game ourselves when the team got announced from Team Wales. So they've had a little under a week to kind of prep themselves. You know, Team Wales have got quite a decent team. You know, decently stacked team as far as players. Ping, obviously. Well known from Chets, I think is probably the best way of putting it. You know, very, very big contribution to their performance up until June of last year, I think it was, or maybe May of last year. You know, now playing for Victus. You know, really good player, good stand-up player. Played quite reasonably well across the entirety of the UK scene. And then you swing into some of the other players, Mog, you know, Kaiser, Imai. There's a whole host of good talent coming in from Team Wales. Team Austria, on the other hand, I don't know if you want to run through some of the players that they've got from Team Austria.
Yeah, sure. There's Reaction, Orbit, Cecil, Farmag, and Yoshi. A couple of those names might be familiar to, you know, the kind of middle to upper European scene, but yeah, it's for most part is just as much of a mix as Wales is bringing.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, there's a couple of good players in that Team Austria side. You know, Orbit, you know, picking the first name out of the hat. You know, he plays currently for Team Deft Fox. He is quite a reasonably well played player. You know, well established player. Starting back in 2019. And kind of moving through different teams from 2019 up until now with Team Death Fox, and has played in quite a wide range of different tournaments as well. Also, you know, top finishes between like first and second, a couple of fifth and sixth place finishes within those tournaments as well. Reaction again, same as previous. You know, plays for, well, we actually saw his former team he played for up until December, Esports Rhein-Neckar, this season in intermediate against Tan. You know, a really, really well-established side within ESCA, and he previously played for them. You know, again, quite a heavy-hitted rifler for them. So I'm kind of interested to see how these things are gonna, how this game is gonna progress forward. I believe we're still waiting for a server to come back up, if I'm not mistaken.
I've posted you the new IP.
Perfect. There we go. I'm gonna jump straight into it, just so we can get gameplay, and hopefully that will pop up on our screen momentarily. There we go. I think they're still in warm-up, thankfully, at least, so we don't have much. As a heads up, some of these players you and I have covered previously, Jammer, and we will end up seeing their team names that they've originally played for, just purely because of the way that the system is worked from the HUD side of things. So like Imai, for example, Gujan Daniels, you know, we all love Gujan Daniel. He still shows up as that on the HUD for whatever reason. I've tried to remove him from it, and it's just not having any joy. Let's jump into the first round though, Jammer. Let's get this game over and done with. Get it started.
My friend, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no knife in a best
No, there's not. No, there's not. There's not a knife round. I know this. I know what I'm doing. It's fine. The sides have already been picked, of course. Team Wales will switch out straight into CT side. That should update on the HUD in a few seconds for you.
Indeed. Now, as we've said, these are two mixed teams, and Mirage is the perfect playground for a pug-style game. And, well, I'm hesitantly going to say that we're going to get a pug-style game, but there is a early stack coming out from Wales. They're going to put all of their pieces, par 1, on the B site, and that's going to be the exact opposite site that Austria are heading to. So it's going to be a tall task for the solo man on the A site to hold off on the CT side of things. And with that utility usage coming through, you can warn that over, and the rotation's coming through, but there's no kills. Orbit takes him out of the round straight away, and we're in a 5 versus 4. Jungle control's even been lost by Wales, and another man goes down. It's really awkward here because Austria, they've had a really strong start, and Wales' job to make that effort up and recover things. But as the bomb gets planted, Austria, they're going to reposition, and there's the first coming back. Kaiser taking one down. And it is going to be that jungle effectiveness. It's cut right through the A site, and it's making things so hard for Wales to retake. Nova, and, well, it is just Nova now, left on his lonesome. 1 versus 4 on the cards. He's going to try and stick in a ninja, but it's not going to come through. Reaction will close that one out, and Austria pick up the first round.
They do indeed. They pick up that first round quite easily, to be completely honest. We are going to take 2 seconds here. Jammer, you are coming through very, very broken up, unfortunately. And I don't know if it's your connection, but we'll see if that fixes itself. I think is probably the best way of putting it. In the meantime, though, while we're waiting for that to happen, we'll see Team Wales take on round 2 against Team Austria. Obviously, Austria planted in previous round and also won, so they're able to buy up quite deeply into this. Pigman, however, is going to start proceedings off for us by taking Cecil down with a very quick equal kill indeed. That re-smoke coming in from Kaiser to give a bit of cover off for his additional man. Unfortunately, that additional man, Calf, will fall to Uppbeat as he tries to break his way into Palace.
Yeah, it is an awkward start for EsportsWales, but they've forced into things and they're going to try and make a hard go of it. Oh, Kaiser lacking a bit too long, and he's not welcome there. He's going to be warded off, but it is going to be a somewhat retake situation coming up from EsportsWales. They don't have the firepower to contend, and there we go. The bomb gets locked in. Austria now, they're going to try and lock things down on the A site just as they did previously, but Pingman, he's got the first, and there's a smoke down in Uppbeat. He takes down the scout, and that's the 2 deagles. Nova and Pingman, they need to recover things. Both going to be entering from CT area. And there's a bit of utility for them to work with, but there's not a lot of health and no kit. So that's going to make things a little bit harder. And there we go. It all gets locked in. Uppbeat coming out with an ace in the second round. A really strong start from him.
Yeah, massive start. I mean, that's going to pay dividends into the later rounds, especially with the amount of cash he's backed up already to bring his teammates into round 3 quite healthily. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this scoreboard at the minute and the way things are currently working out for Team Wales. They're forced, obviously, into another Rico round. So this awards Team Austria the advantage of getting themselves, flying up that board as quick as possible. So with any luck, Team Wales can obviously get that first bye round into the next one and maybe see if we can get these tables turned. Kaiser will respond to Cecil's initial frag on to Kalf, and Kaiser's responding again onto reaction. Uppbeat's able to take down Pingman. Nova's going to pick up Yoshi, but he's also then dropped. It's just trade for trade at the minute, and the last man standing is Kaiser, and he's just not able to connect another shot, unfortunately, and will fall. And that takes us to 3-0 in favour of Team Austria as we head into the first kind of major bye round for Team Wales.
Yeah, it was a quick 3-round, gain from the Austrian side, and that is by virtue of that second round force buy from Wales. It just didn't work out, and now they've been delayed in their gun round, so we're going to see the AWPs and all the other bells and whistles come out. But there's a quick advance from Austria, and they get 2 really early picks, even a third, and this round's just fallen apart for Wales. Nova and, Jay, they need to recover things, but it's such an uphill task. It might be a bit too tall for them to even contest, and there we go. Everyone's just fallen. It is Farmag who is tapped down low from Jay, but it'll be Uppbeat to finish things off, and, Austria just having way too much ease in there.
Yeah, indeed. Way too much fun is what it feels like they're having at the moment. They just seem to be kind of branching out a little bit more advantageous every single time. That mid-push there from Austria, proving quite effectively how happy they are to really play into these sort of deep angles into Team Wales at the moment.
I kind of feel like Wales were a bit caught off guard there, It just seemed like they're not prepared enough, and it could, speak to the fact that they are a mix. But both these teams are mixes, and these fast rounds really can catch you off guard if you're not careful.
Yeah, they can, and it's how a team like Team Wales answers back. That CT side where you are caught with your pants down, essentially. It is kind of that sort of round you expect your players to dig a bit deeper and go, right, okay, this is how we're going to try and bounce back from this. That first pick will fall for Nova, however, you get that deagle frag onto Cecil, not before he does take out Imai. So we are still waiting for some sort of magic moment to happen from Team Wales as we head into what will be a conceded push straight into B site. They've got a lot of site control already. Bomb is on site, and Uppbeat will pick up JCMX, swinging out straight through into that mid angle, into that short angle. Nova will answer back though with a frag of his own on Farmer. As the retake starts to progress, Nova will pick up another as well. Also, he's last man standing in a 1v2. Has 3 frags to his name at the moment. It could go for an ace if possible. He's recovered a weapon, but it is an AWP, and he's going to be going up against 2 AKs. He's going to need to connect this first shot if he can. He will indeed onto one player. He's going to need to look for the second, but he's not got a lot of time and no kit either to try and get that defuse done. That bomb will continue to ring off as Nova falls, unfortunately. Picked up a nice 4K, however, and that will definitely feed quite nicely into the coffers of Team Wales.
I'm back. Am I better? Am I fixed?
No, unfortunately not. You're really not.
Oh no.
It's fine. We make do, right? Yeah, this is it's turning a bit sour at the moment, to be completely honest with you, for Team Wales, Jammer. They are losing players in really awkward sort of scenarios and leaving players like Pingman, for example, to pick up the slack there from CT ramp. He's managed to connect one onto Orbit, and so far this retake isn't really materialising, but players are getting ready in position to start pushing those awkward play spots in on Team Austria to try and recover another pick out of this. I think if we can get 1 or 2 more picks out of this round, Austria losing those 2 additional players should hopefully see something materialise quite nicely for Team Wales. I mean, those are the 2 picks that I needed. Reaction, however, is going to be quick on his reaction. He'll take Pigman and Kaiser. He'll continue to go for Imai. Nova will shut him down in the end, but Farmer G is going to manage to finish that entire round off for us, and we got 6-0 in favour of Team Wales. I mean, Jammer, how do you even break that kind of round down?
Honestly, it's just really confident play from Austria, and when you're playing against confidence on the CT side, any CT side is a really, really hard task to overcome, because they're going to be sitting in angles that you're not necessarily prepared for, and they're not going to give you any angles of opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. They're just kind of forcing you into such an awkward position. And unfortunately, Team Wales doesn't seem to be able to really clap back as much. Reactions in such a clear-cut position there. It's such a simple position, if that makes sense, to get yourself into. And it just doesn't seem to be that quick enough reaction of an answer. I will stop saying reaction at some point, but it is unfortunately the word of the day. Yoshi has managed to push himself all the way up short, and he'll get himself a keen position into B-side, and he's already delaying Nova from really putting that MP9 into any kind of use there to stop the push in. Imai will pick up a frag, however, onto mid, and that will sort of even things out a little bit as Cecil falls. But his teammates are able to rotate themselves into position ready to stop that onslaught, and JCMX and Imai will fall. 7-0 now in favour of Team Austria still. At the minute, it is starting to get a little bit pressure-filled, I think is probably the best way of putting it from a Team Wales perspective, Jammer.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of seems like EsportsWales are delaying the inevitable, and it's not materialising in the way that they want. They can't quite connect, but that's going to be a good start, taking out Orbit. He's the top performer for Austria, and they need more of that on the side of Wales to be able to, bring this comeback, because it is a comeback in the works.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. Farmer G, just... I think there's no easy way of putting that other than that was destruction, really, in fairness, on JCMX. It was very unfortunate of him. He gets caught out after an early advantageous position there to take on Orbit, with Pigman following up with the AWP shot. But yeah, moving swiftly forward, at least anyway, this seems to be the favoured side at the moment as A gets pushed once again there by Team Austria. Nova able to answer back and kind of delay things slightly there from Cecil's perspective. And we go 3v4. I correct myself, 4v2. I'm not going to correct myself again. Imai will fall, unfortunately, to reaction, and we go 3v2. This retake looks like it could potentially come through. Kaiser needs to get himself into good position to answer back. You get reaction off the first pick, and they're hunting down that one final player, that AWP. Farmer G waiting patiently in the smoke.
Oh my god!
Around.
This is so smart.
Oh,
that's such a big great play. Oh my god, he might win. Nick say ain't so.
I've never seen something so intelligent in my entire life. He hasn't got time. I know he's got time with Kit.
Yeah, he's got it.
Oh yeah, he's got that easy. Oh my days, that was almost just...
That was a flabbergasting play.
Yeah, there was like hands everywhere trying to grasp at things, and it just didn't seem to be like butterfingers constantly there from Team Wales. They managed to get it out in the end, and they do win that round out, but they were pushed to the brink, to be completely honest, Jammer.
They really were pushed, beyond almost their means, but they're going to have to recover things really quickly here, because if they can't win a second round in a row, Austria might just run away with things, and Ping's going to go down early with the AWP nonetheless, and well, that's just really the opposite of the start that they want to have. Orbit's even made his way into jungle, and I don't know if Wales are prepared for this kind of advance.
No, I don't think they are. I mean, it feels like they aren't, at least. I mean, look at Reaction's deep position here on B side. Wow. Taking full advantage of that smoke. Orbit's already cleared through. He's in the back lines. He takes Kaiser down. Come on, boys. B site's open. Let's get the bomb plant down. And look at how Austria react off the back of those 2 frags. You have 2 of their attacking players that have taken that site, immediately pushing back off the side to get themselves in position to take on the retake players. Yeah, this is crazy. Orbit has gone from mid to jungle to B site at back B, and then back into jungle again, and back through in. It's just crazy positioning from him. It feels like at the minute Wales need to scramble to retain these guns, though.
They really do, and it's really stagnant play from Wales so far. They've just not been able to make any trick plays or make any advances that you'd want to do on your CT side to potentially, gamble stacks something. Like we saw in the pistol round, it didn't work out for them, but at least they were going for something back then. It just kind of seems like once they lose that initial pick, Austria just, forcing things through and having their way with things, and Wales just aren't reacting to what's happening on the server. Yeah,
they really aren't. They're kind of push themselves into a back corner more or less, and it feels super awkward. Team Austria, however, to take us into double digits, we're 8-1 in favour of Austria into round 10, and it does feel like the hammer meme is going to come out at some point, Jam, to be completely honest with you.
Not in the first half, mate.
No, I can't do it in the first half, can I? There's no need for me to. I'm probably going to do it in the first half. Anyway, I mean, I'm saying I'm going to do it. Team Wales have clapped back. I mean, JCMX has picked himself up a frag, same for Pingman. Imai's going to chime in as well in the background. Seems like the AWP has changed hands, and Imai now picking up the AWP from Pingman, and it's working, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is really what I was talking about. They went for that A site stack, and Austria just try and, make a trick play again, walking through the ramp smoke after getting that initial pick, and it's just not worked out for them. They're going for more cheeky stuff here, but Kaiser, he's in the perfect spot. I don't know how he managed to push up here, but after that, initial ramp stopping of aggression, it's just, worked in spades for Wales.
Yeah, it really has. Such a good round from Wales there, in fairness, and now we move into round 11, and I'm still going to get the hammer out, but it's just not quite in the position it was a few minutes ago. Team Austria still, of course, on the front foot and have won this half out entirely already, but some rounds getting clutched back from Wales may put them in a really good heading into the second half. I think you and I often talk about this, what kind of round count would you want going into a second half when you've had as bad of a first half as this? I think if we get another 2 from Team Wales, I think they'll be a lot happier moving into that second half.
Yeah, they definitely will, but they're going to have to hold off this beach push, and that's such a strong entry. Cecil gets the first, picks up a FAMAS, and he's going to put more aggression, more advantage on the board, because he's made so much space for the rest of his players to push out, and they've just got B-site under their control fully. That might only have pistols, but with the advances that they're going with, it's just so hard to hold off no matter what you've got, working with or against you. It is going to be a quick retake, though. Wales, they're not holding their horses at all, and there's one more player to find. Orbit, the top performer, and he's just got it all to do. He snuck out of the market. He's tagged up, though, and it's just a matter of whether Jay can sneak this off. Oh, my Lord, he's done it. Oh, I don't know how he managed to get away with that, but Wales get a third on the board, and it looks like Jay's going to stay alive.
I don't know how he stayed alive. I'll be completely honest with you.
What's going on?
I have no idea. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think they have any idea as well, to be honest. What a round that was. Jeez. Again, I say this. I said it a moment ago. If they can get to 4 rounds, I think we'd be both fairly, happy with that. To be completely honest.
Yeah, I think it was. Who's the Astralis coach? I think Zonic. He was the one to quote 11-4 is the most dangerous scoreline in a half. And well, if Wales can get to that 4th, it's definitely a point at which they can work back from. But they're going to have to put that 4th on the scoreboard, and put a pretty good case on to put that through the works right here. They've stopped the initial B aggression, and that's made Austria, reconsider their options. Now, they're still lethal with these, scrambled buys like we saw in the previous round, but it's definitely a harder task now that they've been warded off this initial push.
Yeah, it really is. I'm just conscious that utility use a second ago. I do apologise. Just watching that utility usage again coming through from Austria. It's like, the only way I can liken it is that it's like watching a playbook going through, if that makes sense. It seems to be like Austria just using that playbook and just going from 1 through to 15, so to speak, And okay, let's do this next, let's do that next, to see if this works. And there's not really much you can do from a Team Tam perspective, Team Wales perspective. Even.
Team Wales.
I've been
covering the big boys now,
way too much ESA this season for EsportsWales. It feels like it felt like in the earlier rounds there was not much that Wales could do to really combat against that kind of play. You know what I mean? In that sense, but that round from Nova was just perfect once again there. So 4 rounds on the board. We've said it a few moments ago. This is the kind of, where we'd be a bit more comfortable going into T-side. Getting a 5th would make us even more comfortable, I think we'd both agree. And that mid push coming in from Team Austria is going to meet one man and one man alone to begin with, and it's going to be Emi waiting for him. Pingmen, however, is going to fall elsewhere. Gets the first. He's looking for a second. Gets Uppbeat as well. This man has just won this entire round for Team Wales. I don't care what anyone says. That is unbelievable play from both these two players. Nova as well there, chiming in the background. Okay, a bit more happier with 5 on the board, right?
Exactly that. And I just want to talk a bit more about the linchpin of this round. That was that connector player, Emi. If he doesn't get that initial 3k, even stopping the thorn that has been in Wales' side, Uppbeat with the AWP in the top of connector, just getting that amount of impact has completely won Wales that round. Doesn't matter really what happens after that. It's lucky that Nova's able to clean up the last 2, but that really was the swing point of that round, and it's kind of flipped the script a little bit. The score is and always will be for this half in favour of Austria, but now Wales are on the front foot, and it's really up to them to maintain that.
Yeah, exactly. They need to claw back just that one extra, I think, and I'll be chuffed, to be completely honest with you. I'm happy with 4. I'm ecstatic with 5, but I think 6 rounds going into the next half will send shockwaves through this Team Austria team.
May indeed, but the interesting point of advance is there's no one from the side of Wales covering this kind of jungle area, and they're happy to concede that, but I don't really see what kind of map control they're going to take. And you can see there, Jay, he was going for that ramp push, but it's just really not worked. A reaction, he's just going to tap Pingmen out of the server. When you give up map control like jungle and window, it kind of often happens. You need to retake that somewhere else. And the fact that Jay's just going for a timing push on ramp isn't the worst thing to happen, but it's just the lack of forethought to have maybe a contingency in place for something to come in place and help him out, or maybe a 2-man push, because you've got 2 players on that A site. I know one of them was an AWP, but there's got to be something more there other than just one player pushing through one area of the map willy-nilly, because that's not a consistent recipe for success.
No, it's not. It's such a 50-50 play, isn't it? It's like you're either the hero that your team needed at that moment in time, or you're the absolute villain. And unfortunately, it is the villain moment, I'm afraid, in that in this circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit not disappointing, but like you're watching there, willing them not to do that kind of thing. Like you're baring your teeth, and you're like, no, that's not what you need to do. And when it works out, it looks smart. When it doesn't, it makes you look really silly, and just kind of is up to Wales to recover things now.
Yeah.
Man, I love how Austria's putting pressure all around the map, and it's pulling at the strings of Wales like a puppet master. Doesn't seem like Wales know how or what to rotate, and I'm looking to someone like Nova, the IGL, to kind of dictate how things are going to be playing through. But right now it is very loosey-goosey, and I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of that.
Yeah, same. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh, it's gonna happen again,
Yeah,
Nick.
it is. I don't understand how they've allowed this to happen. This is going to be like 5 or 6 times in a row.
Well, it's a field day for Orbit at the office, but there's a backstab, there's a lurk coming through, and he's only good for one, but oh, there we go. There's a big performance out of Emmy. Again, he needs to step up big, and he has done, and that's going to leave things onto Farmer G. He's pushing up short with an AWP, and we've seen him hit some nutty shots, but I'm not so sure if a 1 versus 3 is on the cards this time around. There's no smoke to hide in this time, mate.
No, there's definitely not. First kill there from Farmer, but Pigman's going to be able to answer back, and we go 6-9 into the into the second half. And how do we even break down that first half adequately? I think is probably the best way of wording what I'm about to say. Yeah, I mean that was more or less. I think I mentioned it, and I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot for saying it. But a few minutes ago I was talking about how this is nails in the coffin moment, all that kind of stuff from Team Wales. But realistically speaking, they fought incredibly hard to pull this back, and more power to them.
Yeah, they've made a half out of it. 9-6 isn't a bad scoreline, but they need to really capitalize here, and we can see the dualies put into great effect. Well, in a moment's reaction, he's just so strong, and it's just that's 2 players quickly out the server. There's 3 to find on either side now as the bomb gets planted, and regardless of what happens, that money will be thankfully put into the pockets of the Wales players, and there's a 3 versus 2 retake now after Jay gets taken out very early, and Pingman's given up his location. All 3 players from Austria are going to retake from the market area, and just as they advance, Ping tries to get a timing, not quite connecting, and it's a bit awkward, but it is just going to be falling onto Nova, and he gets taken out fairly early.
Yep, he does indeed. Not the opening pistol round that I think we would want, but unfortunately the opening pistol round that we got, I'm afraid, there in that round. 10-6 is your scoreline, still now in favour of Team Austria. Yeah, I think reaction swinging out with the dualies like that, it's going to do a lot of damage, and unfortunately the amount of damage that it laid on to Team Wales kind of stifled their movements a little bit more. It gave Team Austria a bit more of an opportunity to get themselves into key positions to withhold Team Wales a little bit more. But this is into round 2, and Team Wales have opted to jump on it as quick as possible, essentially, and get some money round play into action. Do you see a number of rifles in force, but it's no match for Cecil at the minute, and he's just picking heads off. We'll see multiples go down.
Oh my lord. He's just happy to sit there and farm up kills all day, and it's just on Pingman. He is a star player, but that's a bit too much of a star task.
Yeah. 6-11 is the scoreline in favour of Team Austria, as previously mentioned in the last round. Yeah, I mean, it's... You hate to see it like that in a second round bye. You kind of hope that Team Austria sit back on their laurels essentially and go for the MP9 players. Oh my days, Orbit. That grenade is massive. Let's be completely honest with the both of it. That grenade is so huge that it's unreal. But yeah, to get into a key position like that, takes down 3 players of his own. This feels more and more like a done deal, unfortunately.
It does indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I want to ask you, what do you do if you're Team Wales? But even if we did, I feel like we're going to be in the same position that we are now. Even if you did have the foresight to, maybe take a pause and figure out what's happening, why it's happening, how it's happening. Yeah. I don't know about you, Jammer, but there is definitely a feeling of the hammer rapping on the door.
Well, they're lining up the nails at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really are. I feel like, this being Austria's pick, I'm and obviously moving into the next map, which is going to be Overpass, which is the first map pick there from Team Wales. Kind of want to see something stronger coming out from them. Look at this. Like the ball. Well, I was going to say the thought and feeling of a CT player to just pull out dualies like that and just crack on anyway as if nothing's happening. Yeah, takes a lot of confidence. Team Austria 14-6. I think you and I should probably start looking forward to maybe Overpass and seeing what Team Wales can provide for us on that one. I mean, if we get to that point, obviously. I think we will, to be completely honest, of course. And with any luck, we'll see Team Wales kind of bounce themselves back into map 2. 14-6 is the scoreline, however, and kind of the first major big buy round from Team Wales. Realistically speaking, we've seen them buy rifles into round 2 and onwards, but yeah, this is going to be the first kind of big one into it. Orbit's just basically slapping heads like he has been doing for more or less the entirety of the last 20 rounds. Yeah, this is it. This is done deal, unfortunately. 15-6 is the scoreline. Match point pushed there by Team Austria. This, unfortunately, could be it. There's that utility drop coming through. For those of you who haven't read all the patch notes, you can now drop utility, which kind of, bit all over the place for that, to be completely honest.
Am I back?
You are 100% back. You are.
Nice. Awesome. Okay.
I feel like my ears are no longer going to burn, which is great.
Apologies for the audio issues. But yeah, hopefully things have been fixed. What hasn't been fixed, though, is Wales' game plan, because they have one round left to find they have one round left against them to be found, and it seems like Austria are well on their way to finding it. Although B-site has been forfeited, and that gives an avenue of opportunity for Wales to advance.
Oof.
Oof indeed. Oh no. Ping gets caught out. Well, it's just on to Nova, and he's got it all to do. The captain, the IGL. First map is going to close out in favour of Austria, 16-6, and that's a really dominant showing.
Sorry, 16-6 is a massive showing there for Team Austria. That is first map over and done with, and with time to spare, more or less is what it feels like. Overpass will be our next map. We're going to take a very short break while we get ready and ramped up for that map. We'll be back with you momentarily. Hello, people. We're back once again, now with gameplay once again. Pistol round obviously or knife round even I should say, is a non-starter. Sides have already been determined previously, so I think we're just waiting on one player to wrap themselves up. There we go, done and dusted. And we should see this game kick off quite quickly. I want to kind of, now that we're back to normal microphones, I want to talk about last map just ever so slightly, just to kind of touch on it. I want to get your expert opinion more than anything, mate. So run me through what you think went right and what went wrong for Team Wales to begin with.
I think it's been a trial by fire so far. These are two mixed teams, but it seems like Austria are more organised, more comfortable playing around each other. Oh my lord. More comfortable in their aim, at least, because Orbit's just taken out Emmy, and that's just a really strong start for them. They've even pushed through Monster. It seems like the kind of corners of the walls are closing in on Wales right now. But coming from the last game, it's not a surprise, and they're just trying to keep up the same pace, because Wales had real trouble with, maintaining the pace that Austria were throwing at them, and even just dealing with the, angles of attack that were being thrown at them at the same time. It is a 3 versus 3 in this pistol round as we come back to this game, but transitioning forward, Austria, they've kept the same pace up, and this backstab is okay, doesn't matter. This backstab's nothing, because Jay turns around and suddenly Jay's doing all the work. He's got it all to do, though. A 1 versus 1 on the cards. Jay on the cards for an ace, and Yoshi's got to fight against it. Well, you know what? Doesn't matter. Yoshi's up to the task, and he's got a 3k of his own, so Austria will take up the pistol again.
I just feel like USPs are just clicked. You know what I mean? Like,
That's so dirty, bro.
yeah,
So
like
dirty.
it's just there is like very little things in life I enjoy more than watching a USB player play like that. You know, where we have them basically clicking heads and it's just no issues whatsoever.
Yeah. Man, it's so crispy when you hit those one taps like that. I just love to see it coming through for these teams. Obviously, it's not ideal that we're covering a Wales game and it happens against a Welsh player, but it happens, and you know what? We get to spectate that lovely CS action.
Yes, indeed we do. Indeed we do. Austria timeout. I love the fact that we can see what the timeouts are, by the way. You can tell you're used to doing the SEA games when you're just about to say, we don't know what team is called time. You know what I mean? Like, every single time, so it's nice to be able to see them for a change. Challenge mode is now my new favourite thing, outside of Face It. Anyway, moving swiftly forward. Yeah, timeout called by Austria. Not quite sure why I didn't see a play at DC. I don't know if you saw something that I didn't see. Maybe, Jama?
Sorry, I didn't catch that last bit. What
I was going to say, I don't know if you saw something I hadn't, but I didn't see a player DC from Austria.
Oh, it was reaction. He just rejoined.
Okay,
yes.
There you go. That's the reason for the disconnect. Oh, for the pause, I should say, is the disconnect. And you definitely don't want reaction not being around, right? I mean, the way he's been playing so far in that first half of map 1, want to bring him back into map 2 in still top form. Anyway, moving quickly forward. JCMX will open things up, and he gets one back against Orbit. I feel that was warranted and needed, to be completely honest, right?
Yeah, balancing of the universe, you might say.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's back to normal. Oh,
what is going on?
Man,
he's just putting on a performance.
I'm stood up, but I can't sit down for this anymore.
Mate, it kind of seems like if Emmy can perform like that, Wales might have a fighting chance in this, but reaction, he's going to be a thorn in the sides of Wales as he gets first in toilets and he's going to stay alive. That's just such a harassing moment because the longer he's alive, that buys time for rotations. There you go. They're just working in together. I say together, it's just reaction on his lonesome doing everything, a 2 versus 2. And the bomb is planted, but Wales, they definitely don't have the momentum on their favour. Oh no. It's not working out, but Nova, he's got it all to do again against reaction, the star player for this round, and he's kind of made everything work. Double smokes coming through. He's gonna lock it in. Nova doesn't realize, and when he swings out, there's gonna be another smoke in the way. Oh, that's such a ballsy play from reaction. He just walks through toilets, gets 3 kills, and then locks in an ninja. That's really big from him.
Yeah, that's massive. In fairness, such a big round to win. Team Austria put 2 on the board, though, into round 3. This is, we would normally say, arguably the first kind of big buy round that we see from Team Wales, but they spent quite a lot into that last round, so we are seeing kind of a clutching buy, if that makes sense. No, or very hardly any utility being picked up. This is one of the reasons why we don't see the utility, or why we're seeing these deaths, because that utility isn't there to really help and give that movement space.
It's almost one of those clutching at straws moments where, you know, you've had a couple of bomb plants in a row and, well, all the bomb plants in a row, but there's just not that buffer to buy utility. And, okay, unless you're lining things up like that, Emmy's just getting multi-kill rounds every round. We should just spec this guy because he's making every single round workable. He's making every single round viable for Wales. And it kind of seems like Nova's strat from the chat that you weren't able to see was just Emmy just run out and get a multi-kill. Almost the Zywoo tactics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's gonna work out.
It's working out. Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. From Eli's perspective and Emmy's perspective, I should say. And Team Wales put 1 on the board. Okay, so I mean that last round, it felt really restrained from Team Wales. You know, there was hardly any utility purchase. Yes, we saw big guns in big hands, and we did have full armor for everyone across the board. But I think now we're seeing their first kind of proper buy round coming in to swing of things, but Austria aren't really able to answer back based on how poorly they performed in that previous. So you'd expect Wales to put another on the board. We'll see what Team Austria can kind of combat against it, though.
I just want to circle back. I don't think many people would have cottoned on, but I just want to give you credit for that 4 Lions reference. I don't even know if it was intentional, but it was marvellous. I just want to commend you. But anyway.
It's no problem. It's the little things in life, you know what I mean? ESL, really hit me up, that's all. No, yeah. I'm glad you picked up on it, at least anyway. I had a little smile on my face while I said it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kaiser's not going to have a smile on his face because all of it just smacked him out the server, and you can reduce Deagle spam all you want, Valve. There's still going to be players that manage to put it off. Orbit and Cecil actually getting away with Deagle spams through the corner of the walls. They've upgraded to AKs and everything's just going wrong for Wales, Nick. What's going on?
This position is crazy. Cecil's able to swing himself out, get those 2 initial picks, gets all the info that both those players need, and he will fall in the end. But nonetheless, my God. Man, what are you doing, innit? You know, they haven't cleared Orbit out. Why haven't they done this? Oh, he's going to play backline. He's got such good position in here. He's done it. Nova had no read into that whatsoever. I think we can both be brutally honest. That was extremely well played from Orbit. He managed to get himself into a decent position, make full utilization of that smoke, and get himself into a really dominant position to pick up a frag. Reaction just taps. Yeah, done.
Mate, it's just really disjointed from Wales right now. They were pushed through, and as soon as there's some sort of bump in the road, as soon as there's a pothole, it just throws all the spanners out of the works, and the machine stops working, and they just become disjointed. They lose their bearings, and then it just kind of breaks down from there. And Austria just steal one away when they really shouldn't have. And this force buy war is really entertaining because both of these teams are making things work when they shouldn't.
Yeah, they're taking chunks out of each other, constantly taking chunks, and it almost feels like that momentum is going to break for either one of these teams at some point, and we're going to see a swing shift where we get 5-6 rounds repeat back on the board essentially for a team. Austria now are on the front foot, having won that previous round. They do have the weapons and the economy to buy up into it. Cecil's just dominated everything in pistol round. He even gets Kaiser, who gives literally a butt cheek more or less of opening for him to shoot into, and it does it. He's looking for everything at the minute, and you can't really blame him, in fairness. He doesn't get the ace, but Farmer will finish that round off for us. Man, I am stood up, Jammer. I'm sorry, it's done now. I need to stand in desk.
I was waiting for to talk about that big flank from Yoshi. They pushed through like a 2-man push through Monster in that previous round. We didn't necessarily talk about it, but he doesn't even need to be needed because Cecil and the rest of the squad are just walking around top connector and just taking heads as they go. Okay. All right.
What's going on? My blood pressure can only take so much. Oh, gee. Needs to get that one more. If you get that extra pick, look at this rotation coming back. The absolute panic-stricken Team Austria players rotating themselves to get into a position to at least help their teammates to fire damage rings into Reactor. And we're in a 3v2, and it actually looks a bit more confident from a Team Wales perspective, Jammer.
Yeah, it really does. They've kind of scrambled from the ashes of the previous round, and they've just come back like a phoenix, and it's just onto Orbit. He's a top performer, but this might be a bit too tall of a task, and there we go. He goes down as well. Wales put a second on the board, and that's right when you need it, Nick.
This is going to be a really, really, really sort of telling map as to how we see Team Wales kind of pushing forward in the rest of these qualifying games. If this is the map to really do it on, push out and kind of dig deep and really hammer home these buy rounds that they're forcing into every single time, perfect for us. Pingmen will pick up Orbit. That's the danger man taking out that picture entirely. Cecil, another danger man, however, is going to push forward, and we're going to get a double AWP play with a 4-man stack left from Team Austria. Oof,
indeed.
This map's been electric, and we're only 7 rounds into it, Jammer.
Yeah, oh no, don't expect that aggression, and there we go, there's 2 kills straight for the hands of Yoshi. Jay's able to advance 1 through Monster, but the rotations just come straight through, and Jay's not expecting it. That's so unfortunate, but on the other side of things, A has fallen. Emmy, he's putting in such good work. They just need to recover the bomb and make a round of it, but Austria hot on their heels, heads up play. They just pushed through, and there we go. They've brought the advance back to their favor. I don't know how they've managed to do it, but they've really, really been making all these deficit rounds and deficit situations work for them.
Yeah, Emmy's got no real choice here but to make full use of the time advantage that he has to rotate himself back, get himself into T side, maybe push in from that angle, see if he can pick up the opening frag against this quite determined defense from Austria. Yeah, they've read into that as well already. They must know by this point, if they have no contact push coming out, It's going to be coming from T-Spawn, at least coming from T-Spawn or from CT. That jump will pay off quite nicely. The Molly flash will ring out. There's 16 seconds and just not enough on the clock there for Team Wales to make use of it, unfortunately. Yoshi, again, coming out quite on form, essentially, stand-up player.
Yeah, I was going to talk about in the previous round if Wales were able to pick things up. This is Wales' map pick. The previous of Mirage was, Austria's home map so far in this series. And Wales did look like they had a glimmer of hope, but right there you can see just how things can fall apart so quickly, even when you are a little bit more comfortable on the map because of these heads-up plays from Austria. And oh no, Cecil's going to lurk through the smoke again, and Orbit might go down, but the Orb can have so much impact from the backlines here. It's just about whether Wales can recover and just close out, hem the bleeding, because right now they're trying to travel as a pack, and this is where it starts to get disjointed. But just as I say that, the pistols come up, and now it's on the cards for Wales. They need to recover things, stabilize, and just try and recoup themselves, because it is very much a scramble right now.
Yeah, they're clutching at everything at the minute, and they're taking these fights on that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to pull through on, and somehow connected on heads. Pingman there with just a lovely one tap essentially from the Deagle, showing us that it still works. Oh, he gets tap damage onto Yoshi as well through wall. Yoshi's going to take full use of the space that Pingman's allowing him with his cover man there in position. He'll get the headshot into him. There's one player left alive from Team Austria. He's in danger. He's dead. Yeah, done and dusted.
Well, when you need your players to come up clutch, Ping is going to get a 3k, and there we go. That's how you buy a third round.
Yep,
now it's all about using the money that you farmed up to buy, these bits of utility and try and take the round a bit slower. I want to see a change of pace from Wales here, because Austria, they're very, very keen to rotate, to move around the map very freely. And it's been such a problem for Wales so far. They need to try and stabilize, because if they get taken advantage of, if these pistols put in just, the same amount of work that we've seen previously, then it's going to be such a difficult task, and it's going to hit your morale so hard. Orbit, he's already making moves in that direction, and it worries me, Nick. It worries me.
It does. I'm extremely concerned for it as well, because the minute he gets into a decent position to really put that Deagle into use, like we've seen him do in previous Deagle rounds or Deagle rounds, he's a dangerous player with wherever he's got in his hands. Cecil's going to chime out the scout and take down Pingman, and he's got information as well that's been gathered based on the jump. Oh my days. Kaiser's going to be able to finish him off, but look at the HP. He's not got a lot of time to work with as well, with the rotation players that are coming through from Team Austria. It makes a little bit of noise, which is unfortunate. He'll get the first, but he's not going to be able to get the second, as Reaction reacts off the back of that pick.
React indeed. And I think, looking at that previous round, you can see Wales, they've definitely got more of a comfortability level, more of a game plan even, as Nova tries to put in practice, what he wants. But it just really does seem like Austria are a bit too tall of a task for them to overcome right now. They say the taller they are, the harder they fall. But in this case, it doesn't seem like Austria are ready to fall, and Wales just need to put a bit more force behind their pushes to be able to make that happen. You're going to see a bit of more force here, though. They're going to pistol push through Monster, but Austria, they've set up perfectly. They've got short control, and this is a crossfire to master all other crossfires, and you can see Yoshi just clean things up on the B site. A 7th for Austria, as they're just happy to sit here and take the frags.
Yeah, that's a skybox round right there for us to go back and watch over again how you hold that crossfire and how you hold that B side out completely. Team Austria, again, this is a repetition essentially of what we saw in the first map, them winning the first half of that map with, I wouldn't say relative ease as it was in the first map that we watched this evening, but confidently at least anyway. 7-3 is your scoreline as we head into the dying rounds of the first half. And it's all on Team Wales to really make use of spaces that Austria are giving them. But Cecil's able to lock down most of those spaces on his own, essentially.
Yeah, he really is locking down that A site, and it doesn't really matter that he's, fallen in such an advanced position, because his teammates can rotate in behind that, and because he's got 2 frags, that puts them in a man-favourable advantage, although Pingman, he's going to work his way back, and now we're back in a 2 versus 2. It's anyone's cards right now, and the way that Austria have set up, I'm not a big fan. A 1-1 situation means that the Wales, they can trade out 1-for-1 right here, and they have site control. That leaves things in a 1 versus 1, and, well, then it gets a bit hairy, but Wales have been taking their time so much that Austria have been able to rotate in position, and even if Wales go quiet right here, you can see Austria, they're just more than happy to just rotate all over the map and test the waters with whatever they're feeling.
They're basically just saying to Team Mills, look, it's all on you to do whatever you want to do. But realistically speaking, we've got all the advantage, we've got all the positional advantage from it. Uppbeat there is going to lay some early damage into the Orpa pingmen. So nowhere to try and answer back, but he's just not going to be able to. And this is just turning constantly into just a Team Austria dominance.
Yeah, Uppbeat right now, he's chewing some gum or brushing his teeth with something because he's just blinding Wales with his star power right now. He just is too much to handle.
Yeah, it really is. And from a commentator's perspective, my next thing is, how do you combat Uppbeat? How do you combat a player like that, and Cecil as well? But I don't even think. I mean, you as a former coach, you're probably the best person to ask about it. But how do you really combat players like them that are so versatile in the way that they play? Look at how Cecil's playing the open his pistol round. I mean, he's deep essentially, waiting for players to come out to him. He'll pick up two, and he's got the forementioned to really kind of tuck himself away, bring himself back out at the right time. Essentially, how do you combat against it, Drama?
Well, you just saw the game plan there. Nova, he says he's having a good game so far, but what happens when we really pressure him, when we just push him down that fountain area? It seems like they're up to the task. It really just does seem like right now Wales are a bit uncommitted with their pushes. You can see right there, Austria, they were happy to take those one-on-one fights at the front of fountain and the front of toilets area because they can get these one-on-ones and then they're perfectly set up. There's a bit of time that's a bit too much where they can reset their bearings and take these one-on-one duels. Eventually Nova can trade out here, but you can see in previous rounds, they're just happy to jiggle in and out of their spots and just take frags every time they're out, retreat in and regain their bearings. It's not going to work out in this round. And, this is exactly the downfall of the playstyle that Austria are playing with. If you're playing really free and if you're taking those 50-50 fights like you mentioned before, then it can go against you. But with the 9-3 scoreline, I can't fault them.
Yeah, same. Completely agree with you. If it's a player that you don't want to have left up against, 1v4, I'd argue 1v3 with Nova's HP. But, if there's one player you don't want up against in this scenario, it's going to be Reaction. We've seen him perform extremely well in these sort of scenarios where he's kind of pushed into a pressure mode. But it looks like he is going to back himself off, get back to T or back to... Actually, he's back at Playground. He might get caught up by Jay here if he's not too careful. Yeah, Jay will kind of catch him up in the end and finish him off. Yeah, I kind of expected Reaction to maybe double back into T-Spawn there, but it almost felt like he was being curtailed into a position where Jay would be advantageous in taking him out.
Yeah, I mean, Austria, they're feeling really comfortable right now, and they're happy to just kind of give those throwaway rounds up. They're just, they're confident enough to just say, you know what, we're going to have fun with it and we're just going to play around because we think we're that much better than you. But you can't take your eye off the ball right here. And if Austria aren't careful, Wales will buy themselves a lifeline. Although, as I say that, Yoshi's just going to buy a lifeline of his own with a Deagle. And just as he pulls the distraction, he pulls the aggressions away from the other areas of the map, his teammates can come in to help. And that's a close trade, close 1v1. But yeah, just those angles of aggression from Austria are a bit too hot to handle.
I want to see Cecil's position. Look at this. I mean, most players would argue this is a bad decision to go deep, but it's not. Cecil gets the first, he even gets the second. Yeah.
I felt that exacerbated sigh is a perfect metaphor for how it must be in the server to just be like, this kid just runs around and ups you. There's nothing you can do, mate. Like when any side is feeling confident and they're just going to run at you, you can be prepared as you want. If you're not going to hit your shots and punish them for it, then you can really only just sigh and sit there in disbelief.
Yeah, you have no choice but to sit there and take it, essentially, and just be like, well, I can't combat against a guy who is literally just matchmaking this, for lack of a better way of putting it. Like, how do you really do it? I'm waiting for the round where we see a Negev come out, or we see an auto coming out from him because of the way that he's playing. But realistically speaking, from a Team Mills perspective, like, it's really hard to combat against it, and it's even harder when you're on the back foot anyway, because there's 4 other players that are outperforming you. From Uppbeat there, reactions, pop flash helps him out, get into an advantageous position to take on that frag. But there is a reaction off the back of it as Team Wales do start to take heads. But it's a 1-for-1 trade, and it's just too little too late, you would almost feel, because the rotation play is coming in. And that is the half over and done with. 11-4 in favour of Team Austria. Again, not the round count that we finished quite, but a round count that we would be more than reasonably happy with in certain scenarios. An 11-4 scoreline.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, the CT side of Overpass can be a hard one to crack, and, well, 4 rounds isn't the worst spot to be in. It's definitely workable. It's just a matter of Wales picking up this pistol round and trying to make that comeback from that, defensive position. And I really want to see them, just throw caution at the wind. They should be playing free. They should be playing loosey-goosey. And I hate to say it, but Hero CS just seems to be king in this match because it's just been working out. There's a 1-for-1 trade as Austria put pressure on the B site. Jay should be having a field day scouting down from the heaven area. I'll tell you what is happening. Farmer G is having a field day, taking scouts, or scalps rather, with his dualies. You can see Emmy though, he's in the back lines and he gets the bomb planter out of the equation. And he's going to be fairly brisk retake, and there you go. Wales, they've got the pistol round. That's exactly what you need to mount this comeback, and, well, it all starts from here, Nick.
Yeah, Farmer G just drove a common adversary through Pigman, Kaiser, and Nova there, unfortunately for them. And yeah, it just put a damper on the mood immediately. But Team Wales were able to react quite nicely off the back of it, and we do see them pull back that round. More of this, please. This commentator says. Let's see that little bit more confident boost in rounds coming in from Team Wales. This is going to be a big buy for them. They are going to be going up against some rifles though in the hands of Team Austria. That opening pick's going to be interesting to say the least, as Uppbeat is the man to fall. Yeah,
that's a curious situation there. I just want to break down how Emmy, he pulls out a grenade after taking that initial engagement, and that's perhaps, the 1% difference between, these players and these teams, the preparedness and the kind of game sense coming through to handle these fights. You can see just there a 2-man push from Wales, and they're just uncommitted. They're kind of hesitantly walking through like, guys, are we allowed to take this? Are you giving us this control? And then they get taken advantage of because there's players, waiting in preparation, lurking in spots that they don't initially expect, and that's just really hard thing to combat against. There you go. You can see it happening again. Emmy, he's trying to jump spot for it, that's fair enough to him, but as soon as he goes for that swing without any util behind it or anything to back it up, it just kind of falls apart. And well, you can see the situation that we've ended up in, a 2 versus 1 in favor of Austria as they gain control of the B site. And Pingman, he's on 3 HP with no kit. Let's see if he can make the magic happen.
He's going to need to do a lot in this to bring it back. 3 HP, not quite one in a dream, but he's just not able to connect those shots. Unfortunately, we will see him fall, and that pushes us into 12-5 in dangerous territory as far as Team Wales are concerned, because they're now on the back foot based on the economy damage that's been dealt out to them.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about. Sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, I've said it before, that the second round, second round losses when you won the first has a greater economic impact than winning the pistol itself. And you can see the rewards of it right here. They've just got pistols.
Yep. There's pistols and really nothing in it for this round for them. And, this is why we see a 3-man stack on B in positions that you wouldn't normally want your players to be in. They're kind of forced into a corner more or less, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, it's honey badger time. You get yourself backed up into a corner and you start swinging and clawing at anything that comes at you, and this is the kind of play that we're seeing from Team Wales at the moment. Yoshi gets the initial pick down to Pingman. It's just the other side of pillar in a dangerous position, and he's able to connect 1 and 2 off the back of that, and Kaiser and Nova fall, and it's left to Emi, and there's nothing in this round essentially for Team Wales. A couple of picks still will work.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say Austria dropping bombs, metaphorically and physically on the server, because it's just blowing Wales out of the water right now.
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk a bit about the CT side of things as well. It was actually this weapon I wanted to talk about, because the M4 A1S has had an increase to body damage. Do you think that's going to see us swing in a lot more players with buying that over the A4?
100%. I feel like the A1S is one of those weapons, a couple of the older viewers that have been watching the game for some time might remember when the A1S was dominant, and I feel like we might see a return to form because of the extra damage that it deals, along with the benefits that we've now found with the amount of bullets that you find in each magazine and in reserve. So, with the benefits that come along with it, I think it's anyone's asking to see whichever they want to use.
Yeah, it's safe to see as well the other changes, like the deagle's been reduced to 300, has come into effect. We're talking through this round, by the way, because there's not really a lot in it from a eco round perspective. There'll be a couple of picks, or a couple of attempted picks there by JCMX, but it's left to Yumi once again to recover. The same, we're going to see some of the changes already coming into effect in this map alone. We see a lot of dealies being picked up because they've been dropped to, I think, $300. I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
Off memory at least, anyway. So, probably going to see a lot more of them swinging into those early rounds, and we've seen them be quite dominant in the hands of people, like Reaction, for example. We could pull this back, mind. 2 players left on the board to really find and recover, and they don't seem to be too eager to get to a site to plant. You see Yoshi there coming up as if he's going to head towards A, but he's going to double back on himself and go through a proven route already cleared and get himself down towards B side. That gives Yumi a little bit of time to reset himself, but he's going to be taking on one player, and that's going to be Reaction that we talked about a moment ago with that M4 A1S. Never mind, the deagle will swing out, and it doesn't matter if you reduce the body damage, that head damage stays the same.
Yeah, it really does. Mate, this is a dominant showing from Austria, and I'm scared to look at the rest of the group right now, because it seems like if Austria are performing like this, they might just run away with things.
I mean, you've got Norway, and we do have Latvia in this group. I think the Netherlands even within Group D for our viewing pleasure over the next 2 days. Oh, look at this from Reaction. It's like the information is not given to anyone. Okay, I want to break this round down a little bit more in a second, but Cecil swings out, gets a pick, but Reaction's already out clean into sight, and the player that spots him doesn't feed the information in time, essentially to give the rest of Team Wales to really combat against him. The player that's lower and close, he didn't have a chance anyway, but it was almost just that little bit too quick on the mark there. And Yumi's left to recover the AWP with 1 HP in a dream, and he is going to get hunted for it.
Yeah, hunted indeed. It seems like the Sharks are closing in on his position, and well, it's a matter of time. Whether he can outlast that time is another question. There's a first, a nice quick flick, and there we go. He's locked in. He's gone for the count, and well, it really does seem like right now, man, this is going to be a tough group for Wales to get out of. I'll say that.
Yes, yeah. I feel this already as well. Your next game, I'm saying this as if we're already done and dusted here. Group B is the group that we're in. Next game will be tomorrow evening, and that will be against the Latvian side. Austria take on the Netherlands. When we get scores from the other teams, we'll try to feed them in as best we possibly can as well for you.
Well, exciting times to be alive, but what isn't exciting is being a Welsh player in this server, because their backs are against the wall and they're really fighting for their lives here. There's 2 early, advantages as they get some opening kills, but might just be delaying the inevitable, because Austria, they've been way too tall a task to handle so far. There's a bomb though, and that's a lot of info to play with. They seem to have all the reads in the right places, and there you go. Wales have got a 6. They can make this respectable, Nick. I don't know if we believe in the comeback just yet, but they can make it respectable.
I mean, we've seen stranger things happen over the last season of the SEA. The cash cups that we've covered over the last 12 months. Stranger things have definitely happened. A 15-6 recovery. I don't think we've seen one of those, to be honest with you, but I'm up for it if the Team Wales guys are up for it, and if Team Austria are going to kind of sit back on their laurels. Scoreline from the other map. So the other games that are ongoing in Group B, Latvia have taken the first map on Mirage 16-14 in favour of themselves. They are now playing map 2 at the moment, and again, I'll check in with them and see what their scorelines are going to be like a little later on.
Thanks for that update.
Oh, that's all right. It's what we do, innit? We try to be professional, sort of, every now and again.
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't seem like Austria want to be professional. They're trying to style on these Wales players, and they're going to advance on this B side. Uppbeat rips Jay's head off the server, and, well, I feel like the nails in the coffin metaphor can be brought out because it is a 3-on-3, and there's one more player to find on this site. Oh, okay, there's a quick trade, and that makes things a little bit more doable. Farmer G and Reaction are going to hold off this Wales re-aggression onto the site. It is going to be Emmy and Kaiser to enact this re-aggression, and, well, there's a nice flash entry. Oh, no. Well, that's definitely not what you want to happen. Emmy, he gets the first, got the second to find. He knows where he is, so this is definitely doable, but there we go. It's locked in. Austria, they've taken off this first game, and they're going to be going up 1-0 in the groups. Wales, however, commiserations, they're going to go 1-0 to the loss.
Yeah, unfortunate there. I think that second win didn't really come into effect quick enough for Team Wales to kind of bounce back off it. I think they'll look over the play or look over the game from today and maybe pull it apart a little bit for themselves. See if they can potentially kind of figure out what went wrong, what went right, and put those corrections in place ready for tomorrow's game against Lithuania. Lithuania at the moment are playing into their second map on Dust 2. They are winning 3-0 at the moment, or 3-0 as it stands. We are going to call it here, though, however. That'll be it for us, for tonight, Jammer. I think we can take a well-deserved break. And tomorrow we'll be back with cameras again, and hopefully with a fully working audio system from Jammer, without having to have me scramble to do production, observation, and also main commentary as well at the same time. Nonetheless, though, Jammer, any closing final words for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was a scuffed start from us and the Wales team, but that doesn't mean that it's all over. It is a group stage, and so hopefully you can join us back and see Wales recoup themselves and get some wins on the scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. Get some more wins on the board. That's the most important thing from our perspective. We want to see them take second or first place within that group. I think Austria are definitely going to be a cut above. Lithuania is going to be a very difficult game tomorrow, and then we have Netherlands on the 24th, being Thursday. Friday even. I'm forgetting what day we're at. Otherwise, though, thank you much for watching this evening. If you want to stay tuned on what's going to happen coming up for the rest of this week, go ahead and follow this Twitch page, EsportsWales. This is where you'll find all the Team Wales content coming forward for the next 3 days. If you want to know what me and Jam are up to, both of our Twitter deals are on screen. By all means, go ahead and follow us, and you can see what kind of shenanigans we get up to outside of casting or within casting. And don't forget to get involved with EsportsWales if you're interested in taking part in their many proven ground games that they run on a weekly basis. Other than that, thank you very much for having us, and we'll see you all tomorrow evening bright and early at 6:30. Peace.